Tyler Jackson of PlaySheetSports.com here, and we continue our camp tour, which brings us to Charmco this morning. I am joined by Joe Robertson, head coach of the girls volleyball team at Greenbrier West. Joe, how are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
So obviously a big topic. You guys went through a very tumultuous season last year
Yep.
with the way but it ended the way you wanted to. You ended up in I don't want to say Charleston because I think it was technically Institute, but you still ended up winning your last set and your last match of the season, which is what everyone asks for. So kind of just talk to me about the Hive coming off that and just coming into the season trying to wipe the slate clean a little bit and not focus too much on that.
Right. So, last year, like I say, it went about a month over. We had fun with it, but it was a long season. So when it was over, I needed to break a little bit. Some of the girls were like, hey, can we start working out, start doing fitness and conditioning and strength conditioning and stuff? I was like, girls, let's take a month or two anyway. So, so we did a little bit of workout through the spring. A lot of the girls played softball, a lot of them played basketball. So a small school like this, you got a lot of these girls play 2 and 3 sports. So, we took a little bit of a break, and then around May, we started doing a few flex days, and through June, July, we do a couple flex days a week. The weeks, a couple of weeks off here and there. And, we have a lot to replace from last year. We lost 3 seniors, but 3 really good seniors, 10 years of starter experience between them. The focus of our offense in Presley and Paige, the focus of our defense with Megan. Our defense kind of revolved around her, offense around the 2 in the front. So we got a lot to replace. We have some experience coming back. We have some great athletes. Don't have quite as much size maybe as we had last year, but I think we'll be okay. We're going to look a little different. Like I was saying earlier, last year our offense kind of ran through those 2. This year it's going to be more balanced, more spread out across the front, and that's not a bad thing at all. I'm confident in everybody we're going to have up there. We have several girls competing for play on the back row, which is good. We have a good, healthy competition between probably 6 or 7 girls, some of them that play up front, and then some girls that are just competing for the back together. So, and we're just focused on this year. And like I keep telling our girls, everybody knows that we won last year. They're going to be out to beat us. They're going to play a little bit extra harder against us. So we got to play a little bit extra back. So, yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Trying to figure out the best place to put everybody. Like I say, I've got great athletes out here. Some of them can play 2 or 3 positions. That's great, but it's my job and my assistant coach's job to figure out the best way to put them on the floor to compete. And we'll probably be up into September before we finally finalize that. Even from game to game, from night to night, we're going to be trying some different lineups and girls in different spots and see what works best.
Gotcha. I mean, I know you're early in, but you did get to use some flex practices.
Right.
Can you just talk to me about some of the challenges? Because you are from a smaller school and area, and you have a lot of overlap in kids that play different sports. We talked about, these kids. You got Bradley Redden back out for the first time in years. You had, previously Presley was a 3-sport athlete. Yeah. So you have all these kids, and there's not as much specialization here, which I think works a ton, but also whenever you're trying to plan those things, you might not get as much in. So just talk to me about the challenges and how you navigate that as a coach.
Well, you got to have a good relationship with the other coaches, which we do. The softball, they didn't do a lot this summer because it's right after their season. So I think they're ready for a little bit of break too. They've done some stuff, I think, but not a lot. Basketball, I don't think's done a whole lot this summer, so it's not been too bad there. And, I have some girls that this is all they play. So they're one come out here all the time. So it's just have a good relationship with the coaches in the schools and try and coordinate things, try and coordinate gym time. It helps we have 2 gyms. But this one was being worked on late in the spring where we redid our floor. So we were just in the auxiliary gym. And then you have cheerleading mixed in with that too. So you got to try to juggle the gym time. Starting in July, we go at 6 a.m. in the morning. There's not many teams that want to be in here at 6 in the morning. So we pretty much have the place to ourselves from 6 to 8. So that's one thing that helps there is coming in early.
So is that your reward for winning a state championship? They get you a new gym floor?
Yeah, maybe that's it. No, this gym floor has been here since the school was built. It's as old as I am because I was born the year the school was built. So it was probably needing replaced. and it looks great. I think it turned out really good, and it's going to be nice for it for a long time.
Navigating this year with a new cast of players in large part, how do you do that without kind of using a crushing expectation of defending
Right.
and repeating,
Right.
because that's the thing that can always hang over you. And there probably shouldn't be that pressure. Because again, it's high school sports. It should be
Right.
fun, but also with the turnover, this team has its own identity. You're
We
not bringing
do.
back as much.
No, we're not, and we're going. Like I said, we're going to look different than we did last year. Uh, you know, Presley and Megan, especially, they were both 4-year starters. They were great leaders, great senior leaders. So losing that almost will affect us maybe as much as losing their physical abilities on the court. So that's one thing we're trying to work through and find who's going to take that spot. Um, our setter, Maddie Sweet's a good leader, but she's not real vocal sometimes. I got a bunch of quiet girls when you want them to be loud. Then when you want them to be quiet, they're loud. That's how it goes sometimes. But Ava Price and Brooklyn Atkins are two seniors. They're good leaders. Brooklyn's great on the floor, being vocal and talking a lot. So yeah, it's we got to replace that. And we try not to put pressure on them. We try to have fun. We play better when we're having fun and playing loose. If they get tight and they have pressure on them, like most teams, they don't play as well. I always tell them, watch college volleyball. Those girls are laughing and having fun. They're playing hard. They're playing awesome. But they're also having fun. Even when they mess up, they don't get down on themselves. They just slap each other on the butt and say, let's go. And they're still smiling. And that's when girls play better, is when they're feeling good. So that's our goal, is to let them have fun out there and play as best as they play.
You talked about that pressure standpoint, but the kids that you've had come through, I mean, you go through last year's group, all of them made state tournaments for the most part, in various different sports. I think Ava made it in state track too.
She did.
These kids are ones that they're kind of used to the pressure. Even some of the ones that are coming back,
right?
How do you kind of see them handle it? And do you think that there's any trick to how they handle it? Because they play in some. It's not just like they're playing in blowouts or anything like that. The volleyball state championship, those sets were tight, and then basketball, the Tucker County game was tight.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They've been in a lot of pressure situations.
Yeah, in softball, they had close games there. Like I say, several of these girls, Brooklyn, Ava, Briley, played on the softball. Ava in track. Briley's in basketball. A couple others on the basketball team. So, they're used to it now, I think. But you don't never get completely comfortable with it, probably. But, I try and just make them play every game the same. And it's a gym. The court's the same size, and that's the same height. It's 6 girls against 6 girls. It's all the same. Just go out there and have fun and play the best you can, see what happens. Talking about pressure, last year in that second set in the state championship game, we were down 22-17. I'm starting to panic. I'm thinking, what am I going to say after a set? We're down 2-0, and we come back and win that. And then our whole attitude changes. I think it hurt East Hardy's. It kind of got on them a little bit. Pressure's filling them, kind of momentum switch. And in volleyball, any sport, momentum's huge, but in volleyball, I think it's so big because you get 5 or 6 points in a row, and man, it just starts snowballing. So the trick is to try and keep those happenings to a minimum. And whenever it starts snowballing like that, kind of reset and start over, and then fight your way back. And we did it in that game, and it was great. I'm glad some of these girls were there and went through that experience, and hopefully, we use that this year.
Talked about a lot of players that have been staples for your program,
right?
That have played. You hit on Briley Redden a little bit. This is the first time that she's played in a couple of years.
Right.
Just talk about what she brings back. Because again, it's another kid that she's played in pressure situations against Tucker County in basketball.
Yep.
She had a layup that helped seal the game. And then obviously, when you're a pitcher in the circle in softball, it can get pretty lonely. Like almost everything falls on you. So it's a very pressure packed.
Well, she's just a super athlete, and she's going to be and I've got several of these girls that would be good at any sport they did, and she's one of them. She's rusty in volleyball. We've got to figure out the best place to put her that fits our team the best, and I think we may be getting there, and then we've got to get her comfortable doing that because she's practiced volleyball like 3 times in the last 3 years. So it's going to be a little while because she didn't really decide she was going to play till last week. So she hadn't been here much on the summer. I think as every day we see her getting a lot better. It's almost like a freshman coming in a way. So I think she's going to help us there. And just like you say, knowing the pressure, being a senior, being a leader, these other girls looking up to our seniors, it'll help.
How often do you wear the ring?
Well, actually, they spelled my name wrong on mine. I had to send it back.
How did they spell it?
Richardson.
I
think they couldn't read the guy's writing that did the form. So, yeah, Richardson. So I haven't got it back yet.
Joe and Jared Richardson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Coach Robertson, I want to thank you for joining us today. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do this year.
Yeah, I'm excited. Defense. It seems like we just finished playing a month ago, but it's here it is again, and I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to have a fun season.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.